A very good afternoon. You're watching the midday news on Rajya Sabha television, where we get you the biggest developing news stories at the top of one. I'm Ashwara, and these are the headlines. Centre warns Pakistan on ceasefire violations, says it could revoke a Ramadan ceasefire if Pakistan does not mend its ways. Militants attack a police party with grenade in Shopian, 5 civilians injured. Thunderstorms likely to hit 13 Uttar Pradesh districts today and tomorrow. 17 people lost their lives in storm-related incidents last week. 5 killed in Nashik. Heat wave conditions continue in Rajasthan. President Ramnath Kovind addresses 49th Conference of Governors and Lieutenant Governors, describes governors as mentors to state governments and an important link in the federal structure. CBSE announces the NEET 2018 exam results. Mark sheets can be accessed on the official website of the CBSE at cbseneet.nic.in. And 25 people killed and hundreds others injured after Guatemala's Fuego volcano erupts. Molten lava burns people in El Rodeo village. City airport closed. National emergency response launched. Our top story this afternoon, the 49th Conference of Governors and Lieutenant Governors is underway at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. The two-day conference commenced with the inaugural address by President Ramnath Kovind, where he called governors as mentors and guides to the state governments who act as an important link in the federal structure. President Kovind added that the focus of the conference is to hold in-depth discussions on government's development programs and to sensitize the citizens about the developmental schemes. The governors will also present and discuss ideas on the commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi over a 24-month period from October this year. The second session of the conference will see briefings and presentations on the flagship programs of the centre, including Clean India Mission, internal security, higher education and skill development. Vice President, Prime Minister, Home Minister and External Affairs Minister will also address the concluding session. News from Jammu and Kashmir, where at least 12 civilians were injured today when a grenade exploded on a road in Badpora in South Kashmir's Shopian district. Now, police sources said that unidentified persons lobbed a grenade at a police vehicle, but it missed the target. The grenade exploded on the road, resulting in injuries to at least 12 civilians, including a child and a woman. The injured have been rushed to a hospital. And earlier, 2 BSF personnel, including an officer, were martyred as Pakistan once again violated ceasefire along the international border in Jammu on Sunday. Pakistani Rangers resorted to unprovoked heavy firing and mortar shelling across the border in Jammu and Kashmir's Shopian district. 10 people, including a woman, were injured in the firing. The ceasefire violation comes nearly a week after the DGMOs of both the nations agreed to implement the 2003 ceasefire pact in letter and spirit.
बॉर्डर फायरिंग है जिसमें 2 जवानों को इंजरी हुई, क्रिटिकल इंजरी हुई और बाद में उनकी अस्पताल ले जाते समय उन्होंने वीर गति को प्राप्त किया। हमने काफ़ी स्ट्रांगली जवाब दिया है और आगे आने वाले दिनों में पता चलेगा कि उनका कितना नुकसान हुआ है, कितने लाइफ एंड प्रॉपर्टी का नुकसान हुआ है।
Meanwhile, Union Minister Hans Rajya here has said that the government would be constrained to revoke the Ramadan ceasefire if Pakistan does not mend its ways. Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti has termed the ceasefire violation as unfortunate and has said that the DGMOs of India and Pakistan should again hold dialogue and stop the bloodshed. She has also urged the separatists to respond to the ceasefire for Ramadan and the offer of talks by the government.
बहुत अनफॉर्चुनेट है जो बॉर्डर पे सीज फायर वायलेशन हुआ और जिसमें हमारे अभी तक 2 BSF के जवान भी शहीद हो गए और कई हमारे सिविलियन भी जख्मी हो गए। ये बहुत अनफॉर्चुनेट है, बदकिस्मती की बात है। DGMOs की बातचीत के बावजूद ये होना, ये नहीं होना चाहिए। पर इसके बावजूद हमारा ये मानना है कि यहाँ भी लोग मर रहे हैं, उस तरह भी लोग मर रहे हैं। इसको दोबारा DGMOs को मिलना चाहिए, बातचीत करनी चाहिए और ये जो बॉर्डर्स पे खून खराबा हो रहा है, शेलिंग हो रही है, इसको बंद किया जाना चाहिए।
Meanwhile, bodies of both the slain personnel were brought to the BSF headquarters where the wreath ceremony was held to bid farewell to them. On to some other news now. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj is taking part in the BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa foreign ministers meeting today. The foreign ministers meeting will lay the foundation for the annual BRICS summit in Johannesburg in the month of July. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to take part in the annual BRICS summit in July. And apart from the BRICS foreign ministers meeting, Sushma Swaraj will also chair a meeting of the foreign ministers of IPSA, that is India, Brazil, South Africa, another bloc working to deepen the coordination among the three countries on major global issues. And earlier on Sunday, Sushma Swaraj called on South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and discussed with him ways to make a further progress in bilateral and multilateral cooperation. Sushma Swaraj arrived in Durban on a 5-day visit during which she will attend the meetings of BRICS and IPSA, the two major groupings where India has been playing a key role. Swaraj will also attend a series of events marking the 125th anniversary of the historic incident where a young Mahatma Gandhi was thrown out of a train compartment in South Africa. All right, my colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us live from the newsroom for a perspective on that story. Akhilesh, ahead of this 10th annual BRICS summit in the month of July, Sushma Swaraj is now today attending the foreign ministers meeting. What is the likely agenda of this meeting?
This is a customary meeting, Aishwarya, but there are something that is very important for this BRICS meeting. In this BRICS meeting, there are two major things that has been decided to be introduced in this BRICS summit that is going to held in July. And one is peacekeeping and another is fourth industrial revolution. You know that one of the major themes of this BRICS will be this fourth industrial revolution, how to cope up. You know that China and India are growing very fast as far as industrial development is concerned, and it is interestingly becoming one of the major issues of BRICS, that how we should coordinate so that there should be no trade war as well as there should not be created monopoly. So you can understand that if you go through the incident that had happened in last 2 years, that there is a competition, somebody is telling that it is unhealthy, ugly competition going on between China and US about trade and tariff restrictions.
Yes.
And another competition is going on between India and China also about how to expand their influence as far as trade and commercial relations are concerned. And you know that Russia is also one of the major guiding force in gelling together of BRICS. So it is going to be very interesting and very important meeting after Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Chinese President Xi Jinping in Wuhan, and also in Sochi he met Russian President Putin.
Yes.
And both these meetings were directed towards how to coordinate among the 5 emerging nations who can be a counterweight to monopoly of America and Europe as far as the whole economic growth and power balancing is concerned. So External Affairs Sushma Swaraj is there, and she will also address a press conference today at 5:30 p.m. Indian time, and all the 5 BRICS members will be, foreign ministers will be present in this meeting. So in a way you can understand it is a curtain raiser meeting. Yes. And in also agenda and documents to be signed will also be finalized, and the last things are decided though at the summit level meeting when all the heads of governments of the 5 nations will meet in July. But in a way this will create, this meeting will create all the basic things for this summit, you know, Aishwarya.
And Akhilesh, apart from the BRICS foreign ministers meeting, she is also attending the IPSA meeting. This is also the foreign ministers of these nations are meeting separately. So what is likely to happen in this meeting?
Actually, there is a difference between BRICS and IPSA. IPSA was created between India, Brazil and South Africa much before BRICS came into existence. IPSA was established in 2003 itself, when it was understood that these are the three major nations who can become a major power bloc as far as emerging economies are concerned, as far as the reform in international system, especially in the United Nations organization is concerned. And that the first summit itself, they decided about fighting against international terrorism, and also they decided about reform in international system, specifically the UN Security Council, and also they decided to cooperate in social development and also the economic issues, that is emerging economies are concerned. So IPSA is going to be very important as far as India's, it is a bloc led by India, Brazil and South Africa, and whenever BRICS summit takes place, this IPSA summit also takes place. And in that way it is going to be important, because IPSA will be taking place tomorrow. So what is going to happen in BRICS today, BRICS foreign ministers today, IPSA ministers will also decide that how to go in the BRICS tomorrow, and they will decide tomorrow that how to put their own agenda, because in BRICS, you know that Russia and China are already member of Security Council, but India and Brazil and South Africa, they are also competing for United Nations Security Council reform, and so they will also put their own agenda, and they will also put their own weight, so that Russia and China can come on board as far and fasten the process of United Nations Security Council reform. So IPSA is going to be very important meeting that will take place tomorrow in in Pretoria.
Absolutely. So crucial meetings are taking place in South Africa ahead of the BRICS summit meeting that is going to happen in Johannesburg, which Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also attending. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates there on that story. Meanwhile, back home, at least 5 people are reported dead in Maharashtra's Nashik district due to pre-monsoon showers and thunderstorms over the last 48 hours. Heavy pre-monsoon rains lashed various parts of Maharashtra's Nashik district, damaging several houses and ruining crops as well. A similar situation prevailed across Uttar Pradesh as 17 people died due to storm as well as lightning incidents. Meanwhile, the Met Department has predicted thunderstorms and dust storms accompanied with gusty winds at isolated places in 13 districts of Uttar Pradesh over the next 2 days, that is today and tomorrow. Heavy rains are also expected at isolated places over Andaman and Nicobar Islands, northeastern states as well as south of the country. Meanwhile, Rajasthan continues to endure severe heat wave conditions, with Sri Ganganagar recording the highest temperature in the state at 48.2 degrees Celsius. The Met Department has said that the heat wave conditions are very likely to continue over West Rajasthan. Let's now take a look at all the weather updates and heat wave conditions across the country. And let's get you an update on the water crisis in Shimla. Amid acute water shortage, the situation in Shimla has improved as the authorities increased the supply from 22.5 million litres per day of water to 37 million litres of water per day. However, the authorities have put in place a rationing system under which the city has been divided into 3 zones, and each zone receives water alternatively. Shimla Municipal Corporation has said that the schedule for supplying water to the 3 zones would be modified as per the needs of these areas. Meanwhile, Shimla residents have been facing a severe water shortage for more than 2 weeks now. The city normally requires 40 to 45 million litres of water per day during summers. Meanwhile, the Higher Education Department has ordered the government schools to remain shut for a week in view of the water shortage. Public schools have also been ordered to remain shut for the next 10 days.
कई सालों में से अब की बार जो जल स्तर जो है वो इस बार जो है न्यूनतम है और उस कारण से ये कठिनाई हिमाचल प्रदेश में ज़्यादा आई और ख़ासतौर से शिमला में। अब सारी स्थिति पर काफ़ी हद तक जो है वो नियंत्रण है। जो ऑगमेंटेशन की दृष्टि से जो करने की चीज़ें थी वो भी हमने की और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के स्तर पर कुछ चीज़ें हमको ठीक करने के लिए थी वो भी हमने की।
And on to some other news. In the wake of the BJP's new initiative, Sampark for Samarthan, Party Chief Amit Shah met Yoga Guru Ramdev in the national capital today. And during the meet, Ramdev praised Prime Minister Modi, saying that his government has worked extensively for the country's development. BJP began its mega mission Sampark for Samarthan, which means approach for support, on 26th of May, when the party completed 4 years in power. And in the mission, over 4,000 party leaders would get in touch with 1 lakh people who are famous in their respective regions and to tell them about the government's achievements. Amit Shah is also set to meet 50 big personalities during this mission.
योग के माध्यम से पूरी दुनिया में भारत का गौरव, सम्मान और स्वाभिमान लौटाया। पूरे देश में चारों तरफ सड़कों का जाल बिछाया। आदरणीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में गडकरी साहब ने जिस तरह से कार्य किया, बिना किसी राजनीतिक भेदभाव के, किसी स्टेट में बीजेपी की गवर्नमेंट थी या नहीं थी, है या नहीं, उसका ध्यान न रख करके कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप होगा, देश में गति बढ़ेगी तो प्रगति होगी, और ये आंखों से दिखता है काम।
पूरे धैर्य से हर चीज को सुना है, मैंने उनको साहित्य भी दिया है और मैं मानता हूं कि बाबा के पास पहुंचने का अर्थ है करोड़ों लोगों के पास हमारी बात अपने आप पहुंच जाती है। तो बाबा ने फिर से एक बार हमें समर्थन का भी भरोसा किया, आशीर्वाद भी दिया, जो हमेशा सबको देते।
And Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda also addressed a press conference in Raipur to inform the government's achievements in these 4 years.
71 से 2014 तक 43 years में हम 3.25 करोड़ ही लोग थे इस 1.25 अरब के देश में जिन्होंने बैंक की दहलीज को पार किया। 3.25 करोड़ ये हमारा फाइनेंशियल स्टेटस था और 2014 से लेकर के 2018 तक 31.52 करोड़ तक हम पहुंचे। कितने गुने हम बढ़े हैं इसका आप आंकड़ों से अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं।
And in midday news, we'll take a very short break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more news.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back after the break. The Central Board of Secondary Education National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test or NEET result 2018 were declared today. The students who had appeared for the NEET 2018 examination can visit the official websites that is cbseneet.nic.in and cbseresults.nic.in to check their results online. Nearly 13 lakh candidates had appeared for the examination on 6th of May. The NEET examination is conducted by the CBSE to grant admission to the MBBS and BDS courses in India and to the medical or dental colleges run by the state governments. And the intrastate e-way bill for transporting goods within states was rolled out across India from Sunday. E-way bill is a document that a person in charge of carrying goods of over 50,000 rupees in value has to carry. Well, it contains the details of origin and the destination of goods and the vehicle. Now, this will be an important step in checking tax evasion under the GST, since all major movements of goods will now be documented and accounted for. With this move, the government hopes to improve the tax collections by reducing trade transactions that currently happens on cash basis. And the Ministry of Home Affairs has asked all the state governments, including the state of Jammu and Kashmir, to again take all necessary steps to prevent the entry of illegal migrants, including Rohingyas from Myanmar. In a letter sent to the Jammu and Kashmir government and to the other state governments, it called on them to kindly review this matter and issue instructions to take necessary steps. All the state governments have also been asked to share updated information in the prescribed forms as soon as possible. The Home Ministry has also expressed its serious concerns over Rohingyas and other foreigners who have already entered and are illegally staying in our country. Big story from Madhya Pradesh, where the Election Commission has ordered a probe into the allegations of large-scale discrepancies in the voters list of Madhya Pradesh. Well, this after the Congress party accused the BJP government in Madhya Pradesh of electoral misconduct by including the names of 60 lakh fake voters in the voters list. The EC has formed two teams who are visiting Narela, Bhojpur, Sioni Malwa and Hoshangabad assembly seats to probe the matter, and it will submit a report by Thursday. Meanwhile, a state BJP leadership had dismissed the Congress's allegations.
हमने उनको प्रमाण दिए हैं कि लगभग हमारे अनुमान में 60 लाख मतदाता सूची में नाम फर्जी हैं। हम ये नहीं कह रहे गलत हैं, हम कह रहे हैं फर्जी हैं और जानबूझ के ये डाले गए हैं, क्योंकि शिकायत हम कर रहे हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी शिकायत नहीं कर रही। इसका मतलब स्पष्ट होता है कि ये करवाए गए हैं।
पूरी तरह से प्रायोजित भाजपा सरकार के द्वारा है। ये कैसे संभव हो सकता है कि 10 साल में 24% आबादी बढ़े लेकिन मतदाता सूची में 40% मतदाता बढ़ जाएं?
हम भी निष्पक्ष चुनाव चाहते हैं और वो भी हम भी उनके साथ हो जाएंगे अगर कोई गड़बड़ी है। निष्पक्ष चुनाव हो और जनता की भावना को आदर करें, इस तरह के अफवाहें फैलाने की कोशिश न करें।
A big international focus. At least 25 people were killed and 300 others were injured after a volcano erupted in Guatemala. Now, Guatemala's Fuego volcano spewed lava and it sent thick clouds of smoke 6 feet into the air, affecting more than 1.7 million people and forcing the capital city's airport to shut down. The officials urged the residents to evacuate the affected areas immediately. State administration has announced a red alert for the immediate areas and an orange alert throughout the country. Hundreds of personnel from the police, Red Cross and military have been dispatched to support emergency operations. The officials have also reported that there were an unverified number of missing persons, adding that the lava had blocked the entry to several communities. Search and rescue operations for the missing and the dead have been suspended due to low light and dangerous conditions. It is the second major eruption this year from the peak. And that's it in this edition of Midday News. But before we go, here is our special report. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the GST in a grand midnight launch in July last year. Now, nearly a year later, the indirect tax move, termed as bold and necessary, has now slowly begun to show its results, overcoming major implementation shortcomings. We'll leave you with this report. Thanks so much for watching.
This event marked the making of history. The Goods and Service Tax, or the GST, was launched at midnight on July 1st last year. Then President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Modi launched what is termed as the biggest tax reform since independence.
It is the most significant economic reform in independent India. And basically what it means is that instead of having a plethora of taxes and varied taxes across different states, you now have a unified system of taxation which is the instead of sales tax and VAT, you have an integrated GST system across the country. So effectively the country becomes borderless. Otherwise every state was virtually a nation in taxation to itself.
The launch of GSTE kicked in the process to streamline Indian business. The large chunk of what has remained informal, populated by small traders, which existed outside the frame of tangible identities. The paperwork, which was often riddled with leaks, fed corrupt small roots who ducked the taxes, was to be checked by the GST regime.
In the previous regime, from the first stair to the cabin of the assessing officer, we were supposed to pay this much amount to this guy, to peon, to this and that, because of getting things done. Whereas under GST, everything will be done on computer. So you need to have a system with you, and if you are in system, then there is no problem. Of course, it will be a challenge for tax evaders. Now it will not be easy for the evasion of tax or evasion of transactions. Ultimately, everything will be under the scanner of the government.
And the results have been promising thus far. The collections from the goods and service tax crossed rupees 1 lakh crore mark in April this year, according to data released by the Finance Ministry. The total revenue from the new indirect tax in April was rupees 1,03,458 crore, the highest recorded in a single month since its implementation in July 2017. In further good news, the GST returns rose from 57% for July 2017 to nearly 63% for March 2018. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley called this a landmark achievement and a confirmation of increased economic activity.
जितने भी डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी है उसमें इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स का शेयर ज़्यादा होता है. उससे क्या होता है, टैक्स बेस इंक्लूसिव होता है. आप टूथपेस्ट खरीदते हो तो आपको टैक्स देना है. अब केवल पर्सनल इनकम पे या जो सैलरीड क्लास पे केवल टैक्स लेवी करके आपको कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला. आप इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाओगे, उसमें लीकेज को रोकोगे. तो जीएसटी इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को स्ट्रॉन्ग करने का बहुत अच्छा मूव है.
अराउंड इफ सम स्टेट इज इंपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द अदर स्टेट, the transaction cost was at around 6%. That was impacting the price cost margins of the producers. So now with the implementation of GST, this transaction cost is going to be zero or at a very minimum level.
Even though the GST had been widely welcomed by the traders, they're also seeking government's help to simplify it further.
The small traders, they don't have technology. Still there are about 60% of the trading community across country, those who doesn't have computers. So it would be better on the part of the government that first we equip them with the system. Let us bring out a scheme, maybe under skill development or under any other scheme, that the people, those who doesn't have technology, we should align them with technology. And once they are aligned with the technology, we need to educate them how to use technology.
The filing procedures were quite complex, particularly for small industry. But I must compliment the government. The government in the first 4 months listened very carefully to industry, took the feedback of the users of GST, and they were quite willing and speedily redressing the issues that came up during the GST implementation. And I think they still have an open platform to receive inputs from various users of GST.
The system of GST has now begun to show results. International agencies too have affirmed that Indian economy is gradually coming out of the effects of note ban and GST implementation and look good enough to grow beyond the rate of 7% in terms of the GDP. In Delhi, Rajat for Rajya Sabha TV.